What if the person you trusted with every heartbeat was secretly betraying you? What if every I love you heard was meant for someone else? This story will pierce your heart and make you question the line between love and betrayal. Stay with me, because this is a journey of heartbreak, resilience, and rediscovery. I thought I knew him. 8 years of marriage, countless shared memories, and a life I believed was built on love and trust. But one quiet evening, that belief shattered. It began with subtle shifts, missed calls, late nights that couldn't be explained, a distant shadow in his eyes. I told myself it was nothing. I wanted to trust him, but a gnawing suspicion refused to be silenced. Then I found her, not by luck, but by accident. Hidden messages on his phone, secret conversations filled with laughter, promises, and intimacy that wasn't meant for me. The walls of my world turned icy. Every tender word, every affectionate gesture I had cherished suddenly felt like a lie. The man I had given my heart to had been living another life. Confrontation was unavoidable. I remember standing in our bedroom, hands shaking as I held his phone. His gaze slipped past mine. He didn't deny it. Instead, he confessed casually, as if my heart was nothing more than a passing thought. Anger, grief, and disbelief collided inside me, leaving a wound too heavy to bear. For nights I cried alone. Friends' comforting words sounded distant, like whispers in a storm. I couldn't comprehend how someone could betray the person who had loved them unconditionally. But over time, I realized his actions, while painful, could not steal my strength. I started rebuilding myself, reclaiming dreams I had set aside, rediscovering passions I thought I had lost. Slowly, I understood that his choices reflected his character, not mine. My happiness had been stolen temporarily, but it wasn't gone forever. The days after the confrontation felt surreal. Walking through our home, I felt like a ghost among memories that now mocked me. Every photograph, every memento carried the weight of betrayal. Friends urged me to leave, start fresh, seek revenge. But I knew vengeance would only tether me to the past. Instead, I turned inward. I revisited long-forgotten hobbies, rekindled old friendships, and allowed myself to laugh again without guilt. One evening, wandering city streets, I realized hours had passed without a thought of him. Freedom, long denied, finally brushed against me. His affair had taken my peace, yes, but it had also forced me to rediscover my worth. Months later, I heard about him, not with anger, but indifference. He had moved on, as had I. There was no bitterness, no longing, only the calm certainty that my happiness no longer belonged to him. The pain he caused had a purpose. It pushed me to grow, to protect my heart, and to reclaim the life he tried to take. With time, I stopped waiting for apologies. Closure wasn't something he could give me. It was something I claimed for myself. Each day brought more confidence, more clarity, and more understanding of what I deserved. I learned to set boundaries, say no, and treasure the small joys, morning sunlight, laughter with friends, quiet moments of reflection. One evening, sitting by the window with a cup of tea, I felt it, the peace I hadn't known in years. This wasn't borrowed happiness from someone else's presence. It was mine, steady and unshakable. His betrayal didn't define me. What had been taken temporarily was now fully reclaimed. I had learned to trust myself again, to protect my joy, and to embrace the woman I had become. And in that moment, I smiled, not because I had forgotten him, but because I had finally remembered myself. My happiness wasn't gone. It had been waiting for me to find it all along. Even after reclaiming my happiness, life wasn't without its shadows. Sometimes, in quiet moments, a memory would flicker, a shared laugh, a familiar scent, the echo of his voice, and for a heartbeat, the pain would resurface. But now it no longer controlled me. I had learned to face those echoes with calm, acknowledging them, without letting them pull me back into despair. I began to see the world differently. Relationships, once taken for granted, became treasures. Friendships deepened. Small acts of kindness, from a stranger's smile to a warm cup of coffee, felt profound. I discovered that love and trust were not just gifts from others, but things I could nurture within myself. Work became my sanctuary. I threw myself into projects I had abandoned, pushing boundaries I never thought I could reach. Each success, each small victory, reminded me of my resilience. I realized that the betrayal had not just tested me, it had forged me. I was no longer the person who would crumble in secret agony. I was stronger, wiser, and fiercely independent. One day, as I walked past a cafe we had once frequented together, I paused. The memories surfaced, but instead of grief, I felt clarity. I no longer needed to ask why. His choices belonged to him. My choices belonged to me. I walked past with my head held high, the city buzzing around me. Alive with possibilities I was finally ready to embrace. I also noticed subtle changes in the people around me. Friends who had once feared my sadness now marveled at my transformation. Strangers sensed it too. A quiet confidence, a sense of self-possession that didn't require anyone else's validation. I realized that happiness, once stolen, could be rebuilt stronger than before. Months turned into a year, and life continued to unfold in unexpected ways. I laughed more freely, loved more deeply, not in a romantic sense, but in the sense of appreciating life itself. Even grief, once my constant companion, became a teacher, showing me the depth of my own endurance. And then, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose, I understood something profound. Betrayal had not ended me. It had redirected me. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt had been a step toward the life I was meant to live. A life where my happiness was mine alone, unshakable and untouchable by anyone else. I had learned to love again, not someone else, but myself, and in that self-love, I found the most profound freedom of all. Life had settled into a rhythm of quiet strength. I had rebuilt myself, embraced my passions, and learned to walk through the world unshaken. Or, so I thought. One crisp autumn evening, as I wandered through a crowded market, a familiar voice cut through the noise. My heart skipped, not with fear, but with a strange, lingering curiosity. I turned, and there he was, my husband, the man who had once held my heart and then shattered it. For a moment, time froze. The world around us blurred. He looked different, older in ways that had nothing to do with age, harder, distant, almost like a stranger wearing his face. And yet, I could see traces of the man I once loved, flickers in his eyes that reminded me of every memory I had cherished. I expected anger, bitterness, maybe tears, but they didn't come. Instead, I felt calm, almost detached. This encounter wasn't about him anymore. It was about me. I saw clearly that I had grown beyond the person who had once been defined by his betrayal. He approached cautiously, words catching somewhere between apology and explanation. But I didn't need them. I had built my own closure, and no confession could shake it. "I see you've changed," he said quietly, almost reverently. "Yes," I replied, my voice steady, "and I'm stronger than ever." The air between us was heavy, but it carried no power over me. I realized that seeing him now, unprepared for this moment, reminded me why I had walked away from the shadow of his choices. His life had moved on, and so had mine. But this time I held the reins. I smiled gently and continued walking, each step lighter than the last. Behind me, he watched, perhaps realizing too late that the woman he had tried to break was no longer the one he could touch. That day, I understood a truth that had been building inside me all along. The real power of betrayal lies not in the pain it causes, but in the strength it can ignite. His affair had ended a chapter, but it had written the prelude to my freedom, my self-discovery, and my unwavering resilience. I walked into the fading sunset, my heart open, my spirit untethered. The past had its scars, yes, but they were mine to heal, mine to own, and mine to transform into strength. If you face someone who hurt you deeply, would you confront them or walk away stronger like she did? But share your thoughts in the comments. Like this story if it moved you. And subscribe for more real-life tales that will touch your heart and challenge your emotions.